Thank you guys very much. Yes, so my name's Aaron, and I, as you may have heard before, I work for APPTUTTi, and what we deal with is getting developers into the mainland Android Chinese marketplaces. So this talk is everything you need to know about the Chinese mobile market. So I will try and condense that into 15 minutes, and hopefully you guys can learn something about China, and if you're interested in publishing, this can answer some of your questions. So, oh, thank you for moving the chairs. So first, let's just go over the Chinese mobile market. It's around $37.9 billion in game revenue. It's the world's #1 largest mobile market. There are currently around 691 million mobile gamers, and 27% of worldwide gaming spending is from China. So I'm sure you all already know that China is a huge market, but these are just some of the numbers to be highlighted. So in terms of the market size and the growth rate, we can see that the market size is going to continually increase and increase. The growth rate has slowed a little bit. This is due to many reasons. One, it's just the market cap, and another was in 2018 there was a pause on gaming approvals, which really slowed down the market. So this was the pause in gaming approvals. So each new game that enters China needs to have some documents from the Chinese government. During 2018, they paused this application, which hurt a lot of the main players. You can see in 2017, Tencent had a 49% year-on-year revenue growth. In 2018, it almost dropped in half. You can see NetEase actually went into the negative. Those are two of the biggest publishers in China, and it really just shows that this gaming approval freeze really hurt all countries, all companies inside of China. But actually, they have resumed the game approvals. Yay, we can all cheer. So in 2019, the end of 2018, they decided to revamp the approval procedure. And this is taken from our 2019 H1 user acquisition white paper that you can find online. Just type in APPTUTTi 2019 UA white paper. And you can see these are the approvals during each month. So January, there were 560 new games approved. February, it dipped because the Chinese New Year, most people go back to their hometowns. And yeah, you can see the trend of new gaming approvals has returned to a pre-ban rate, which is great news for people trying to enter China. Monthly active users in the mobile game industry. We can see here that in the early half of 2019, it increased by over 70 million. So there were 70 million more monthly active users in China. If you look at June, there are around 6.92. So there were over 692 million mobile gamers in China during June. And you can see here, just like the monthly active users normally stays around the same, with over 600 million monthly active mobile gaming users, which is crazy. That's like double the size of the United States population just playing mobile games. Always blows my mind. So if there are around 1.395 billion people in China, it means around half of China plays mobile games, which is bigger than consoles, it's bigger than PC. Mobile games in China has taken off for many reasons, not only the accessibility of smartphones and the fact that smartphones are readily available for all Chinese citizens, but also the fact that there are hundreds of app stores and hundreds of developers making games for Chinese mobile users. Another point I wanted to talk about was female gamers in China. We can see that this demographic is really increasing in the late years. So there are around 367 million Chinese female game players in April, up 6.4% from the month before. So during the first half of 2019, Chinese female players they jumped to 13.5% year-on-year consumption, so almost $3.5 billion just from Chinese female gamers, which is a huge market. So we're seeing a lot of games tailoring to the female market in China, which is a good idea. A lot of idle games, a lot of dress-up games, a lot of cosmetic games, they can be really profitable with the Chinese female users in China. And for instance, the King Glory, I don't know if any one of you have heard of King Glory. It's one of the biggest games in China. It's a Tencent game. Over 54% of the players are females. So there's one example of a game where there are more females playing than men. So let's take a hypothetical example. I'm an indie developer, and I've just made my first game. It's called Go Go Football, and I put my heart and my passion into this project, and now I want to release it in China. So what are the next steps for an indie developer such as myself to publish my game in China? You can see I'm a little island off the coast. So the first obstacle, or the first challenge that you may want to think about, is fragmentation. So in China, there's no Google Play Store, so that means that there's hundreds of Android app stores that have sprung up to fill that hole in the market. For instance, Douyu, TapTap, Huawei, Oppo, Xiaomi. There are literally hundreds of Android app stores where people download their games. So what do? Do I build a different version of my game for each app store? That's going to take me a lot of time. How do I apply to these different app stores? It's a challenge. Next up is regulations. For example, I can't show any blood in my game. If I do show blood, I have to think about ways around it, perhaps turn it green. For instance, in PUBG, they turn the blood green to get past this regulation. I can't show any violence. I can't show any pornography, any politically sensitive content. So you have to really, there's a list of regulations to get into China, and how will me as an independent developer, how do I know these regulations? It's like hidden behind like a Chinese legal system. And localization. So my game is on the Google Play Store, and it has Facebook login, Twitter login. Those aren't compatible in China. So how do I localize my game? Not only translation, but so that Chinese users can have a localized version for their app stores. So these are some of the problems that I would come against as an independent game developer. Now, one tidbit. If my game has in-app purchases, what is the process for me? So any game with in-app purchases requires 2 documents from the Chinese government: an ISBN license, or a publishing license, and an IP protection certificate. With these 2 documents, I can then have in-app purchases in my game. Without them, I cannot. Now, these take around 6 to 9 months, even with the resumption of the game approvals, and can cost around $4,000. But if you want to monetize your game effectively, and of course in-app purchases is one of the best ways to monetize your game, you will need these 2 documents. There's no way around it. Even Tencent, they made Call of Duty Mobile, which is the most successful mobile game ever, still not available in China because they don't have these 2 documents. So there are some traditional publishing practices. I can take my games to some of the Chinese publishers, for instance, Tencent, NetEase, but my game has maybe, 1,000 downloads on the Google Play Store. Are these big publishers really going to invest or use the capital to take my game? Most likely not. They're going to be thinking, what's our return on investment? They're not going to even let me in the door, really, unless my game has millions and millions of downloads and high retention and high profit. Like, the metrics of this game aren't high enough. So I've already gone to the first step, the traditional publishing practice, and the door's been shut in my face. So what's next for me? So what the app is APPTUTTi. So this is our motto here, it's DEST. So we are the most direct way into the Chinese marketplace. We're equitable, it means we're open for everyone, we're fair to everyone. Everyone can submit their apps and games to us. We're speedy, you can have your game published within 10 days from submission to SDK integration into publication, and we're transparent. We show all of the data on our partner portal, so you're able to see all of the data for your games and all of the key metrics that you'd like to see. So we have a very simple service. It's called RSPP. This is our register. So you register on our partner portal. You can do it in just one click. You submit your APK file to us. Our team will review it. You plug. We have our Super SDK, which means that you can publish your game in multiple stores. You don't need to make a different version for each store. You install one SDK, and then you can be published on all of our allied app stores. And then the last step is publish. So it's RSPP. You register on our portal, submit your game, plug our SDK, and then have your game published on the Chinese Android app stores. So the previous challenges that I covered, how does APPTUTTi overcome them? So firstly, fragmentation. Google Play is banned. There are hundreds of app stores. There's different requirements for each store. How does APPTUTTi solve this problem? We have more than 25 partnered allied stores that we can distribute your game in. These are some of the top stores in the Android market. And our Super SDK allows for multi-store publications for one build of your game. So this fragmentation, we've consolidated it to make it easier for you to distribute in China with your just one build. Localization. All games launched in China, they have to be localized. Of course, they need simplified Chinese text. Foreign payment methods and foreign social networks are not permitted, so they need to be removed from the game. So how do we solve this? We offer 1,000 words free translation to each project submitted to us. So we will translate your game for free for up to the first initial 1,000 words. This isn't just Google Translate, this is translation done by seasoned professional gamers. We have full integration of local payment options, for instance, Alipay, WeChat Pay, Union Pay, and local advertising networks so that we can show local ads to local users, and so that you can make money based on these ad platforms. And we have local social network compatibility too, so like WeChat login, Weibo login, all of the Chinese social media apps. And finally, monetization. So, for instance, if you were to submit an in-app purchase game, we would recommend that you first launch a ads monetized game first to test the Chinese market, to start increasing your user player base. And then after that, if you would like to submit an in-app purchase version of your game, APPTUTTi will help with the application and monitoring of the documents to the Chinese government. So we will apply for the IP protection and the ISBN license on behalf of our partners. And as I've said before, our SDK integrates all the necessary protocols and local ad networks so that you can monetize your game effectively. The eCPM in China is, like I said before, it's just below the USA, so ads monetized games can actually make quite a fair amount of money. So what does APPTUTTi do? We provide the login options, the data mining. We have a data mining tool in our SDK, so you can keep track of stores, users by location. I'll go more into that. And we provide local payment options, so when your in-app purchase game is ready, they are able to use their local payment options, so they don't need to use PayPal or Visa. It's not accessible in China. They can instead spend a lot of money on your game through their local payment systems. So these are some of the data metrics that we will be able to provide our partners. Users, the daily active users, the new users, the user retention, which stores are providing the most users, the ads impressions, the ads clicks, the amount of money, total money that you're earning, geography, where in China are they downloading your game, where are your most active users. It could be in Beijing, it could be in Shanghai, it's a big country. Devices, we even have information on what type of device your users are using, what resolution they're playing your game at, their connection method, are they connecting through Wi-Fi, are they connecting through 4G, 5G, and transactions for in-app purchases, you can measure all of your transactions through your billing points. So it's comprehensive data that you can find on the partner portal once you register and submit a game. So we partnered with Unity Technologies. We're one of the stores on Unity Technologies' UDP initiative, which is not the network protocol. This is the Unity Distribution Portal. So it's an initiative for developers to publish their games in markets from around the world. We are one of the partners for the Chinese market. This is our CEO. He just said, APPTUTTi and Unity share the same common objective of solving the problem of game distribution to multiple app stores in local markets. With Unity developers' ability to now access the Chinese market, this is the beginning of many opportunities to come. So for any developers that use Unity, you can find us on the Unity distribution portal and submit your games to us there, or you can come to us directly. So I hope that gave you an insight into the Chinese mobile market, some of the challenges, some of the solutions that APPTUTTi provides. You can find us on all of the social medias. We have many Tutti tutorials, which is our tutorials for our partners about how to submit their games, how to do the SDK integration. We're very active on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter. So finally, I will just leave you with this. Please fasten your apps and games. We are landing in the Chinese market. So I think that's me done for time. Thank you very much. So no, you don't need that to come to us. What you would do is, our basic plan is free. You'll be published in free app stores for free. Once you start thinking about the in-app purchase route, you upgrade your service plan. So for the IP protection certificate, it's $200. For the total package with the ISBN and the IP protection certificate is $4,000 in total.
Tell you what, let's leave it there. Oh, we can squeeze maybe one more. Let's grab this guy and then we'll leave it there. Thank you.
Hello, hi there, thanks. Are there any GDPR or CCPA-like legislations in the Chinese market that app developers would need to be aware of?
There are many, too many, there are some for you to be aware of. I can't specifically name them off the top of my head. I hope you understand that. But with APPTUTTi, we will really just we're here to guide you through the whole process. So if your app or game was against any of those regulations, we would let you know what you would need to do to make sure it would be able to be approved.
Great, thank you. Well, let's move